I think he's right on point there. Why? Because lately our universities have started adapting to, you know, the current trends. Back then it was difficult. We would take years for the review of a new university program, especially with the evolving trends. And that is also good because now the times have really changed. You cannot address today's concerns with a program that was designed 20 years back, meaning you're only going to be moving in the theoretical world, yet you're not very practical with the current situations. So I think, and I also expect we shall be having quite a number of other programs that are geared towards addressing the current needs that we have on the market. And when it comes to the socio-political sphere in Uganda, we really need a lot of attention there, because we are totally losing it on the side of the diplomacy in the country. Our political space does not even paint a good picture at times. And then also on the bit of the economy, it does seem like at times even those who have been through the rightful channels of education lack the ideas on how to maneuver through the current trends. So you would give kudos to Makerere University, but again in the same regard, continue congratulating all the students who are graduating, those who graduated the first 2 days, even today.
Yes.
Then Olive, on a sad note, okay, it's not sad, but on an unfortunate note, we were supposed to be having a tournament in Uganda starting the 1st of February, or starting next month. And that tournament was not only going to be held in Uganda, but also in our neighboring countries, Kenya and Tanzania, as we gear up for the Pamoja 2027 African Cup of Nations. That will also be hosted by the 3 countries. Now, for the football fanatics, news broke out yesterday after CAF released a communique revealing that they have extended or postponed the tournament to August, simply because the countries are yet to fully prepare according to the standards of an international tournament. And of course, CAF in the communique revealed that despite the efforts to work on the facilities that, let's say, Uganda has been doing, Kenya and Tanzania, so that they are ready for the tournament, CAF realized that they need most time to work on the other things that ensure that, one, because to host that tournament, you're supposed to have security, the facilities, infrastructure. It has to work like that. And it's more like the African Cup of Nations, but this time around, this particular tournament focuses on players that play domestically in their local leagues across Africa. So the CHAN tournament will not be played in February. It has been postponed in August, to August, meaning by the time we reach August, CAF will have released the official dates when we are expected to watch that or to host the CAF CHAN tournament. And of course, on the Ugandan perspective, many were excited because the hotel industry would have been earning some good money with countries that were going to be living within. So it's not good news as of now, but we hope that by August, when we return, we are ready and good to go.
Yeah, that's very key, because in the event that we are still not ready, we might end up seeing another extension, but hopefully there won't be any postponement from August going forward. Well, Chirabo Robert joins us in Studio B. Good morning, Chirabo.
Good morning to you, Olive.
How are you?
I'm fine. I love the color of your dress.
Thank you.
No wonder we are in January, and 26th of January is Liberation Day.
Oh, wow.
So I hope you're not
someone is choice of outfits this
Seriously?
morning,
No, I'm just talking
instead
about-
of complimenting.
That doesn't belong to anyone.
I'm just talking about the color of the dress. And
In
we are in
conjunction.
January, and January is a very historical month for Uganda, because 26th January happens to be Liberation Day. So looking at the color and one of the main historical events of our country, I think you're really sending the message earlier enough for those that could have.
Why is it that when she wears green, you don't talk about something else? Or red?
Oh no, what would I talk about it?
Robert.
But I must say, you look smart in yellow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now,
very much.
away from that, in South Korea, their president was arrested by the anti-corruption agency on allegations of corruption. Very interesting, about a month back, this president passed a degree of the martial law, kind of, when we talk about martial law, a very tougher law for civilians, And people went into demonstrations, went on streets, saying, but actually you man, having passed this. So it has been about a week long of protests, and finally security agencies surrounded this person's residency, and we are seeing yet another president of South Korea also now being arrested. We remember one time we had a leader of South Korea who had just visited Uganda, but shortly when she went back to the country, she got a jail sentence. So looking at these countries and how some of them do their things, how do you have a president, either suspended or what, being arrested, yet even in the US, when a president was found guilty, you get what I'm trying to say, Olive? That different countries do their things differently. A president in the United States was found guilty, where one would say law, democracy.
And he's still in office.
Yeah,
so all
but
of those.
He's expected to take office because president-elect, but now the judge passes a sentence that I'd never heard of. You're not getting a fine, you're not getting imprisonment, but you've been convicted. Now, because but for South Korea, these things happen, and you wonder how different countries have moved to yet different levels of rule of law. Would I call it also democracy? But
and
also
Chiravo, thank you so much for mentioning the United States. More events occurring in that country are starting to show us that maybe the United States is not as democratic as they have always showed us that they are. We are seeing different events that would otherwise turn out differently, but now they're turning out in a certain way, and you're like, okay, are you guys as democratic and as fair as we have always known? Because, I mean, America says they're the greatest country in the entire world, but there is so much chaos happening there politically, socially, and it leaves one wondering. Now, in the case of South Korea, the former president you mentioned who had just visited Uganda in 2017, she was later on sentenced to 24 years in prison that were later increased to 25 under cases where mismanagement of government, bribery, and so much more abuse of power. Now, I'm yet to see, let's bring it back to Africa, a sitting African president facing the law like that. Do you think that will ever happen?
No, most African countries, our president has immunity as long as they're still in power.
I think we're following more of what our colonial masters had at the time.
Okay.
So that is why we are using the same. However much, at times, most of the African presidents as well tend to also add some spices into the law.
Because I'll give you an example. Zambia had a president, I think was called Frederick Chiruba. Now, during his term of office, all was okay. But immediately the man left power, cases came in and he faced imprisonment. So most African presidents, as long as you are sitting president and you're not impeached or there isn't a coup, the law does not get you anywhere. But once you leave, then some of them, that is why you see that strength of the law, because you're the fountain of honor. You know? Then how do you bring these two?
Well, Robert, take us through the local news. What do we have today?
Now, beginning with President Yoweri Museveni, who has attended the opening ceremony of the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week, a closed session that kicked off a week-long gathering of global leaders focused on sustainability. The event is running under the theme, The Nexus of Next Supercharging Sustainability Progress, aims to accelerate sustainability, economic progress, and address pressing global challenges. Later in the day, President Museveni witnessed the Zayed Sustainability Prize Award ceremony at the Abu Dhabi National Exhibition Center, where individuals from around the world shared inspiring stories of how the initiative has transformed their lives. The ceremony celebrated the 11 winners of the prestigious Zayed Sustainability Prize, recognizing their remarkable contribution to creating a more sustainable and inclusive world. President Museveni extended congratulations to the winners and expressed gratitude to Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the leader of the United Arab Emirates, for hosting this event. Nine Chinese nationals were arrested in Ramukoma Bukasa in Mpigi district for illegally backfilling and sand degrading and blocking of water flow in River Katonga. Their arrest followed a compliance operation mounted by the Environmental Protection Police and NEMA together with sister agencies including Ministry of Water. In the middle of River Katonga is a beehive of illegal sand mining activities by one company identified as Endorop International Company Limited and another unknown illegal company said to be owned by one Shakonzik, Zayen alias Fei and Li Li, both of Chinese descent. The two companies backfilled several acres of River Katonga banks, diverted the water flow and blocked some channels and encroached on River Katonga to create room for their sand mining. This company that was given a 5-year license issued in December 2020 was only approved to do sand mining on only 3.8-acre piece of land. The initial operating license, due to expire in December 2025, was issued to the company by former management of NEMA. However, although Endocrop company had been given only 3.8 acres, the company illegally advanced on the same part of the river, encroaching on over 10 acres, which contravened the initial agreement of the license. The Uganda police force is hunting for 2 suspected criminals linked to a series of money heists in Kampala metropolitan area. KMP spokesperson Patrick Onyango revealed that the suspects have been targeting financial institutions. The latest incident of robbery interception in Kamocha led to the neutralization of 6 suspects who have been on security watch list. Security operatives in an intelligence-led operation killed 6 suspected robbers at different locations within Kamocha. According to police, these suspects were on a mission to rob a client of a bank in the area. Police have revealed that these individuals were already on the police watch list. The suspects are linked to a series of robberies in Kampala metropolitan area, including stealing 100 million shillings from a man named Kibamanya in Kawempe. And finally, from the local scene, the Confederation of African Football has announced the postponement of the Total Energies CAF African Nations Championship to August 2025. According to CAF, progress has been made in the construction and upgrading of the stadiums, training fields, hotels, hospitals, and other critical infrastructure in the 3 host countries of Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. However, the technical and infrastructure experts have advised that more time is needed to ensure that all facilities meet the high standards required for successful tournament.
Well, now we move on to international news, and we start with the incidents occurring in Gaza. Now, according to the BBC, the area in Gaza, which Israel's military has told people to go to for their safety, has been hit by 97 strikes since May. This, according to BBC, and they verify the analysis. The findings come as negotiations for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas appear to be nearing a breakthrough. Mediators in Qatar say talks are in their final stages, raising hopes that an agreement could be reached soon. The humanitarian zone was first established by the Israel Defense Forces in October 2023 for the protection of residents to keep innocent civilians out of harm's way. On 6 May 2024, the IDF significantly expanded the zone to include the cities of Khan Younis and Deir al-Balah. The area, much of which is a strip of land along the Mediterranean Sea, is densely populated and is estimated to have over 1 million people living there, according to international humanitarian organizations. Many people are living in tents with limited infrastructure and limited access to aid. In a statement to BBC Verify, the IDF said it was targeting Hamas fighters operating in the humanitarian zone and accused the group of violating international law while exploiting civilians as human shields and launching rockets from the area. Now moving on, President Joe Biden is to remove the U.S. designation of Cuba as a state sponsor of terrorism as part of a prisoner release deal, the White House said on Tuesday. Shortly afterwards, Cuba announced it would release 553 prisoners detained for diverse crimes. It is hoped these will include participants in anti-government protests 4 years ago. President-elect Donald Trump reinstated the country's terror designation in the final days of his first presidency in 2021, banning U.S. economic aid and arms exports to the country. But on Tuesday, a Biden administration official said an assessment of the situation had presented no information that supported the designation. Cuba said Biden's move was a step in the right direction despite its limited nature. This decision puts an end to specific coercive measures that, along with many others, caused serious damage to the Cuban economy with a severe effect on the population, the country's Minister of Foreign Affairs said in a statement. And finally, Nigerians on social media are mourning the death of a woman who was allegedly beheaded by a man reported to be her boyfriend in Nasarawa State. Police arrested Timiliaini Ajay, a gospel singer, on Sunday with a severed head of his victim, 24-year-old Salome Adaidu, near a church. He is alleged to have been carrying the head in a bag, which drew attention from other people who accosted him before police took over and arrested him. Other dismembered parts of the deceased's body were alleged to have been recovered later in his home. Mr. Ajay has not commented on the allegations. The suspect was found with a fresh human head, and when we got to the scene, we rescued him from being mobbed. Nasarawa police spokesperson Ramhan Nansel was quoted by the Punch News website as saying, "The deceased was identified as a member of the National Youth Service Corps who was serving in the federal capital, Abuja. Investigations into the incident are ongoing," this according to police. Such a young life, beautiful girl. So sad. But anyway, we move on to the press.
Well, New Vision today writes how security were able to track city bank robbers. Find the details in today's edition. Police pursues more suspects. Probe extends to bank staff during the investigations. Now, General Saleh raises funds for church. More of that. Even pictorial of what happened during his 65th birthday celebrations. Then Makerere University's first petroleum PhD graduate. Who is this? They have produced the first locally trained PhD graduate of petroleum course science in the country, a sign that the country's oil and gas sector is growing with skills alike. Now, details of that is in today's New Vision. Now, court new details on Besigye's co-accused. Find it in the New Vision. Then loan shark has been ordered off client his home. A money lending firm that gave a woman in Wakiso district a loan of 60 million shillings, but allegedly wanted to take over her property, claiming they had bought it, has been ordered to back off. Then you can find out President Museveni attending Sustainability Week in Abu Dhabi, and the front page of the New Vision is Presidents Paul Kagame, Bola Ahmed Tinubu of Nigeria. There is also Shavkat of Uzbekistan. There is Ilham Aliyev of Azerbaijan, and also President William Ruto amongst those at the front page of the New Vision. Now, the Daily Monitor writes, defiant stand, we decline. Besigye and his aide, Obed Lutale, laid down the gauntlet yesterday, refusing to enter a plea at the General Court Martial while claiming that the arc of history will bend towards injustice if they were compelled to do so. And then Makerere, what PhD graduates researched, find the details in the Daily Monitor. Then agony of mpox, genital wounds and eviction threats. Find that in the other news also. Now, ADF acquires killer drones, according to a UN report. And in the home's perspective, Bogere's journey to his dream home. That is with the Daily Monitor. In Kenya, the Daily Nation, Muturi spills the beans. Move sets him on a collision path with the state. And you can see that Mr. Muturi is quoted saying, "I had the president ask Nuruddin Haji if he was holding my son. Nuruddin confirmed that indeed he was holding my son, and the president instructed him to release Leslie immediately." Now, there is an uncowed Public Service Cabinet Secretary Justin Muturi yesterday took the abductions nightmare right to President William Ruto and the National Intelligence Service doorstep, alleging that NIS abducted his son in June and only released him after a call by the head of state at his insistence. Now, also TSC deploy primary teachers to junior high. And then in sports, 2024 CHAN draw tonight. Kenya is to know group rivals in the 19-nation tourney. Then Kiriaitu, CAD and looming cabinet reshuffle. That is also in the Daily Nation. Now, the best and worst counties have been ranked by the Daily Nation here. You can see the top 10 best performers and then those that are bottom of the list. Then lastly, from our press review is the Citizen from Tanzania. Nairobi's safety concerns cast shadow over city's reputation. Now, Kenya, once renowned for its welcoming atmosphere towards foreigners, is now grappling with a rise in security concerns, including recent abductions of both locals and foreigners. Then Chadema leadership crisis fueled by top leaders' selfishness, according to Lema. And Tanzania, Japan signed 354.5 billion Tanzanian shillings worth of a loan for agriculture. Now, there is also a call for reforms as telecoms shun mandatory listing, as TMA warns of strong winds and high waves. Then in the national business, Airplanes Africa assembles 4 planes in Morogoro. That does it for our press review this Wednesday.
And now it's time for our inspiration song of the day. This one is from Rowena Birungi, Ye Indi.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
2024 indicate that Uganda region has the most cases of child marriages, and this has worried leaders and parents at large. One wonders what's going on in Uganda. What are the contributing factors? This goes against the Children Amendment Act 2016, which emphasizes that every child has a right to an education and places responsibilities on parents and the state to ensure that children attend school and that they are well catered to. So why the high rate of child marriages in the Uganda region? That's what we want to look into, and you can join the conversation as well through WhatsApp number 0709 602 592. You can also send a direct message on the same number. Share your views regarding the reason why you think there are more child marriages in Uganda region as compared to eastern, to western, and even northern parts of Uganda. Uganda region is the central part of the country. Now, coming to you, Joram, I would like for us to first of all have a look, an overview at the report. What exactly is the report saying? Which numbers are we looking at?
Well, the report here highlights something about 533,379 children between 10 and 17 years being reported as either cohabiting or in marriage arrangements. So, and then this, you're seeing either one who is already having a husband, because now marriage is
cohabitation is regarded as
and
marriage.
even cohabiting, meaning you're already staying away from your parents' home,
yes,
and you're staying with someone way older than you, or someone who is worth to be either your father or even a grandfather. Depends on the age. Now, when you look into the same report, they've also showed that there is a disturbing trend which has raised concerns among local leaders, with over 190 children in the Uganda sub-region alone reported to be married. Now, that is 190 being reported as married, according to the census final report. Now, that is also a huge number.
That's worrisome.
If this is only in the Uganda sub-region. And according to the report, it has registered the highest. And when we talk about the Uganda sub-region, meaning we're talking about the districts that make up the central part of Uganda.
Yes.
Including those on the islands.
Kalangala,
Buvuma, Sese, those are all engraved within the central region. And so this report is kind of bringing us to that bit of things. But then also the report, Olive, mentions that there is, when you look at the causes as to why this is here, or why we are reporting these cases, and this is also within the report, these causes are kind of uniform in regards to what is happening elsewhere or in the other sub-regions of the country or other regions.
But they are more prevalent in
more
Uganda?
prevalent in Uganda. But they highlight the major causes. Now, with the report, it highlights the major causes of the child marriages elsewhere, because the report is only giving you figures that Uganda has registered higher cases. But then, why do we have the cases everywhere? Which they highlight something to do with poverty that has caused, or that has led to many people looking for options in marriage. For example, if a parent who does not have enough money to take care of his children, they would resort to pushing their daughters into marriage, especially if the other individual is being deemed fit to take care of this person. So parents end up just giving up. And then there is the bit of the negligence from the parents. That is also part of the causes, according to the report, that they've come to realize that many parents have neglected their roles and duties as parents, as guardians, as watchovers to their children, as inspirational models to their children, and this has forced many children to move into early marriages, even when they are not ready for the circumstances. And this negligence is also cited through various incidents, such as failure to take children to school. And of course, the failure to take children to school may also be attributed to the first cause, which is poverty, because some of the parents do not have enough money to take their children to school. Now the negligence comes in a way that we have government-aided schools.
I was coming to that, Joram, because we have free education. The government introduced universal primary education and universal secondary education. Now, there are people who will say it's not the best, but it again, 0 is better than none. Rather,
True.
1 is better than 0,
and at
right?
least it keeps the children back in school.
Exactly. And when you marry them off at 10 and you keep them out of school, it means that you're keeping them semi-literate, or even illiterate entirely, so they cannot even compete for jobs favorably. They cannot help themselves. So why are parents in this region, and even the other regions where we are seeing child marriages, why are they raising poverty, yet we have free government schools?
When you also look at the report, Olive, within the Uganda sub-region, they point out that Luwero district is one that has more cases amongst the districts with more cases of child marriages. And of course, there would be an argument that why would we be having these cases in the central region? Some people would say it is close to the capital. It kind of gives you a look of modernity. You would be expecting these cases to rise from different areas. And that argument is also open. But when you look at the issue here, they look at Luwero and why many of the local leaders in Luwero are saying the parents are neglecting their duties, and they feel that they can get dowry from their daughters when they are still, when they've hit adolescence. So they are looking at their daughters not only as just their offsprings, but they are now looking at them as a source of investment or a source of income. Now this is where the negligence comes in, because when you look at the fact that we do have affordable education with the public schools, you're looking at the universal secondary education and the universal primary education, you would expect, if a parent is very intentional in such a generation of ours that seems to be more exposed to why it is important to have your children in school.
Even when you're not educated.
Exactly. If the parent was very intentional, they would be taking their students in the government-aided schools. You never know, chance or luck may hit your child and they get sponsorship at government, that is at the various public universities. And this is where most parents are being negligent, that your child is done with primary, because at least they push them to primary, and when the parents realize that it's maybe the child is growing, adolescence hits them and their body features on their bodies, they feel like the child is now grown up or mature enough. But
Jeremy, you did mention ages ranging from 10 to 17. A 10-year-old is a baby.
True.
They don't even know anything about life.
10 years, someone is either in P3 or P4.
P4, P5, yes. So it's really sickening. But anyway, to reiterate some of the numbers Joram has shared with us, the report indicates that the Uganda sub-region had the highest cases after registering 100,190 children who were married, followed by the Busoga region with 58,672 child marriages. West Nile had 47,529 child marriages, and Ankole had 35,566 child marriages. Now, Madi sub-region had the least with 5,770 child marriages. Sebei had 6,137 child marriages, and Kampala City had 11,797 child marriages. This is just Kampala City. That is quite a large number. Now, the Children's Act, as amended in 2016, defines child marriage as a union, whether formal or informal, involving any person below the age of 18 years to live as husband and wife. Now, we are looking at children between the ages of 10 and 17 being married off. This is worrisome for our country, but also it begs for the question, what is the future of these children going to be like? And then what will the future of their children be like? Now here it creates a vicious circle or a vicious cycle of poverty if we are looking at poverty as one of the main contributing factors, and then we have parents that cannot take care of themselves because themselves they are not well educated to find jobs, then it means they will not even have the presence of mind to educate their own children. That is something to reflect upon. But I would like Robert Chirabo to join us from Studio B. Robert, earlier you did mention Buganda is not even one of the areas that are like highlighted as to have the highest rates of poverty. Now, local leaders are citing poverty as one of the major contributing factors to why parents are marrying off their children. But if Buganda is not highlighted as one of the most impoverished, what in your own perspective could be the contributing factor?
Thank you so much, Olive, and of course our viewers and Sonko. Now, some things are hard to say because we've pretended so much that they no longer matter. And when you look at poverty levels, just like you said, Buganda is not among the top or even top regions, central region.
So it's not among the top, but it features somewhere.
This is the thing.
Okay.
When you look at Madi sub-region and other regions you've mentioned, where the figures are low, there are about two factors that are common. One, they are upholding culture. Come to the central here. There is high level of moral decadence. High level of people drinking and living loose lives amongst parents and their children. When you go to those areas, some even have bylaws at what time bars should begin. I was sometime back in northern Uganda. I saw people putting on, was it white, in a certain prison, and they told me, no, we passed a bylaw. We find you drinking before 5, come to Central here. Bars are working 24/7, of all classes. Those in these slum areas, the bars are working. In posh areas, still, there are bars working. That is in
Kampala.
Yeah, now, the level of immorality here in Kampala, there are places you go to in Kampala here and you're shocked. Yesterday I had a doctor here, we were talking about Mpox. But they said why Mpox is so high in Kampala here is because of ladies of the night. Research proved that one woman was able to spread to 40. Now come to Kampala, every dark spot, either in high-end places or low-end places, the ladies of the night have become a commonality. The parents are also not so much, even when we go to religion. When you go to the villages, Olive, you still find people Sundays, they even tell you they have gone to church, they have gone to the mosque. Come to Kampala, religious matters, yes, you may see some born-agains and maybe a few Catholics, but the things that hold society to treasure a child in Kampala, in the central, are going. Not forgetting that it's a collection of all races, the foreigners, refugees, and all that. So those two things, in the city, in Buganda here, culture, how we viewed a child and how we protected a child, this is going away. Yet in rural areas, some of these small things that we may think don't matter are still biting and they are holding on to them. For example, in some of these areas, a young girl becoming pregnant is still a hard thing for them. You find they'll even, she knows it is a taboo, the repercussions. Come to Kampala, we've learned to live with these things. So what? She got pregnant. You know, there's that level of complacent that is taking us, people in central region here, and we are losing our girls into child marriage. You would think that where civilization, central region, civilization, there is police, all offices you can talk of are centered here.
But you see, Robert, you are mentioning Kampala, not to say that Kampala is actually out
Broadly,
of,
central region, okay.
oh, yes.
Because when you look at central
because
region,
Kampala has 11,000 child marriages, quite a large number, but it is reported that Luwero has the highest. Now, they didn't give us the specific number in Luwero. So when you say Kampala, it makes someone believe that it is only here, but it is basically spread up across Buganda region.
which is central still. Now, when you talk about Luwero,
Yes.
how many miles is Luwero from Kampala?
It is
still
central, but you were
central.
mainly focusing on
Yeah,
Kampala.
but why am I focusing on central? Is that if you look at resources, Olive, and people watching us, central region stands to have an upper hand in all regions. Maybe now the west is also coming up, because most of the government proximity to the capital provides them with a better hand or an upper hand when it comes to certain facilities. You would think in terms of enforcement. For example, Luwero is not very far. If you will look at how many police officers they have, how many patrols, in terms of communicate, all these things. So the central region is blessed. You can't equate it to some areas. You would say they have so high levels of poverty, service delivery is very complicated there. So the only issue therefore will zero to what I've said, that when you go, for example, I was once in northern Uganda for about 3 months under NUSAF. And guess what happened to us, Olive?
Right.
I'd never entered a Manyata. So I was excited to enter a Manyata. Now, one of my friends tells me that he was a Karamajong and tells me, but this is the side of the girls, this is the side of the boys, but don't enter. And out of curiosity, I and a few journalists by then, we entered. We were found there in a Manyata. Do you know, just in the compound, but we were fined goats, because in the Karamajong culture, a girl's Manyata, a man does not go there unless it is their father. Now, they have those things that protect the girl to a certain level. There are fines for you to impregnate or take a girl below the age of 18, unless it has been formally done. But come to this region we are talking about, there is so much confusion. How they protect children. Here, father drinks. There is a way we need, I think, to look at what made us great. And much as we are saying modernity is coming in, we are so busy in the central region, almost everyone, they go and work. We need to go back and see what kept our society together. How did we protect the girl child? What were the taboos there? Are there some we can still cling on? Because some regions that are clinging on these are doing better than we are doing.
Chirabo, still with you. One of the local leaders in Luwero cited poverty, but away from poverty, he did cite the irresponsibility of the fathers. He said fathers have neglected their responsibility, and because of that, young girls are now being neglected and they end up in child marriages. What's your perspective on that?
I do not disagree with him. I just agree with him 100%. That, again, I'll go to this particular region. There is a way. We have so many absentee fathers, yet they are alive, but in the lives of their children are not there. Come to Kampala. Are you aware that in Kampala we are going to find a man who doesn't know where their children sleep, stay, and they don't care, and they are living a normal life? Someone says they have this number of children. But it's not that they don't have the money, Olive. It is a shame, and I must say, that even many men in the corporate world today, as we are speaking, it's not that this person doesn't have the money. They do have the money, but there is something that has coped up and brought irresponsibility amongst these men. They don't care attitude. You find them, they will drink, they will club, evening they will have, you find them in all these various places, but they have not cared about. One time I asked a father, he was saying, my daughter got pregnant. But I was asking this man, when did you know that your daughter is seeing another man? He only to reveal that I was told Aeta Surawaka, meaning she has not been staying home. Olive, if you remember some decades back, I know when you were growing up, it was very hard for a father not to check the bedroom of the girls and see if every girl is there. The boys could have some bit of liberty, but even a mother.
I think that's where the problem actually is. Why were you giving the boys liberty? Because it's these very boys that end up impregnating other people's daughters. Yes. So, Joram, actually, that brings us to the next point of conversation. Do you think that probably the way parenting is done, there has to be some changes? Because if you say that boys have a bit of liberty to move around, guess who they move around to see? They're moving around to see these young girls. And guess who ends up making them pregnant? It is the boys or even the older men. And then at the end of the day, in most of our cultures, when you get pregnant out of wedlock, you're forced to go and live with the father of the child. So do you think there needs to be a change in the way parenting is done, especially now with all the pressures of social media and new age media as we know it?
Well, if you give it a thought, it would be it would be a good move to see parents also put more attention on the boys. Back in the time, or what we are used to is protecting girls and protecting them, telling them you're not supposed to be out past, let's say, 6 p.m. in the evening, even young ones, because of one major reason. Boys. Or men,
yes,
I should say. Now, the reason as why we are here is because we've given the men or the boys all the power and energy. Of course, this is how society is, that the boys and the girl, rather the boys,
will always have some more advantages.
Exactly, they will have more advantages. They are the men. They're supposed to go out there and prove their manhood, hunt, and because this is like the African narrative, generally. But we need to, I think, on the bit of the parenting is just to bring the boys into understanding that these girls are your friends, and they are not supposed to be seen as prizes all the time. Because at times you realize why we've grown into that society where most of the boys or the men will do anything they can do to go on and sleep with a young girl or to sleep with a given woman, is because they've grown up in society where they feel they're supposed to be hunting this person all the time. That they feel like they're supposed to be hunting the women. They feel they cannot create friendship around with these women. And this is why at times even women are scared to be in spaces where there are more men than they are. Today, if you sit down with a young girl and you send her somewhere, and she finds a clique of men or she finds a group of men, she'll be scared to even pass.
Not only today, since back then, I remember as a teenager,
and
I
we
was
also
always
have
afraid
women who
of
have that level of low self-esteem because they are scared to even pass close to men, because in their mind they know that these men are either going to mock them, they're going to kind of tease them, they're going to approach them. So we need to create a society where boys and girls, right from childhood, and this should be with the parents, the guardians, even in our neighborhoods where we stay, where the girls and boys are given room to exercise friendship, mutual friendship, where they can easily interact, where there is freedom of the young girls to express themselves before the men, so that they are not worried or scared when they are going to encounter these men. Because when you look at the reason as to why these men take advantage of the young girls, even with defilement and rape cases, is they are manipulative enough. And once they realize that this young girl can stand for herself, at times these men are scared. So we need to give that bit of, love to the men. I would call it love, where they need to understand that, hey, you're not above these young girls, that you're going to be taking advantage of them given any opportunity you have.
Okay, now Jerem, let's look at the effects of child marriages. What are the potential social, economic, and even psychological effects of child marriage onto this young woman?
When we start with the psychological effects, you're robbed of your childhood and let's say your teenage, I should say. You know, the reason as to why at times many people say it is better or it's always important for young girls to achieve something for themselves before they get into marriage is because the generations have really changed. It's no longer generations of getting married at 16, at 14.
And depend on your
Today we are seeing
husband.
women who are going in spaces and making a living where they are dominating even male spaces. And it is because of parenting that pushed them there, or because these women were dedicated from childhood to achieve something. They were career oriented at the get-go. And when you sit down with them, they will also share with you that during their childhood, they went through the phases of childhood, they enjoyed their teenage, they enjoyed their early 20s before they made a decision. Because when you are a young woman, it is always better and advisable that you get into, let's say, marriage or get to choose a partner when you are very intentional and you're sane at the time, where you're not going to blame anyone for the decision you took. And with the early marriages today, it is causing trauma for generations. Why is that so? You realize that the bond between this young mother and their child is always broken right from the time of getting the pregnancy. Why? Because this child is going to hate herself, because she's going to be despised during the time of carrying this pregnancy, and by the time she delivers the baby, she has already lost the love for motherhood. She's only going to reciprocate the energy simply because this is her child. And at times we even find many women throwing their children away or even attempting to kill them because they are angered. The trauma keeps haunting them generations to generations, and they cannot extend that love to this child because the child robbed them of their youth. At times people say, this child robbed me of my youth. You find,
they stay bitter.
Yeah, they stay bitter. They don't have that joy because they feel this, even when the child starts growing and living the best life that, let's say, the mother did not achieve in the early 20s, she will now become bitter or see the child as a competition because the child is living a life she also wanted to live, but someone robbed them of that life. And
That's
then also,
very sad.
Olive, on the other issue, it comes to the body bit of it. You see, even with women who give birth when they are mature enough, they will tell you the effects of pregnancy that stay with you. At times, some have backache for generations.
Yeah,
others,
something
the other
stays
time
with
I
you
had a
forever.
conversation with my elder sister, and she was telling me her left hip, ever since she gave birth to her first of the 3 babies she has, of the 3 daughters she has she's always having recurring, hip pain. So when you can imagine from a side of experience as an old person. Now what of a child who has got pregnant at 12, at 13?
At 12, at 10.
And you become a mother at 13 and you're going to live for all those years.
A child becoming, a child having a baby.
At times the effects are way
baby.
beyond. That's why at times people say women are selfish in regards to in regards to the decisions we make, because it doesn't affect us as much.
I would like to.
Someone,
I would like to share some of the comments, and I would like to get a response from both of you gentlemen on this comment here. And this one says, "Thank you for the updates." Okwi Milton Nikana. The cause of early marriages in Uganda sub-region, he goes down to highlight them. He says, number 1, poor dress code of young girls and ladies in Central brings this because at times some of them become victims of rape cases, thus leading to early marriages. I am not comfortable with this comment one bit.
I don't know if he noticed we talked about the age bracket of 10
We
to 17.
are talking about the age bracket of 10 to 17. These are minors. So if a man has the audacity to rape a child, to molest a 10-year, 13-year-old because she's not well dressed, I think there is a problem with that man. But I would like to hear from Chirabo.
In African tradition, women never used to cover their entire bodies.
And we still have cultures
There
where
were
women do
still
not cover.
many of them in our cultures, women were exposing body parts to a certain extent. It had that little cover, but still it was exposure. But rape was not the order of that day. I want to believe this excuse of bad dress code, yes, it's not very good to do that, because you may find people that are morally not right, not stable, and you may become a victim. So you're putting yourself in harm's way. But men should never use that as an excuse. Because unlike animals, you are given some level of self-control as human beings. That this is a young child below the age of 18. However, if I may use the word, provocative she may dress, or is it seductive? That is no excuse, because you will first of all even know that she's young, so she doesn't know the impact of maybe what she's putting on, that there's someone she's provoking somewhere that way. So this dressing flesh and you're all gone and you have to take action, I think that happens to dogs, not human beings. So I'm not in for dress code of minors below 18s, giving that as an excuse that this is why people are taking these young girls for marriage. Because even marriage is not something that you just rush to because of sight. Yes, women are taken by what they feel, men are taken by what they see, but we are talking about marriage.
And when it comes to marriage, in most cases, the decision is out of the children's hands. It's mainly, the perpetrators are usually the adults in their lives. It could be the parents or even the guardians. So still, blaming it on the children, blaming it on how people dress, I think this is low and it's uncalled for. But he goes on to say failure to work harder in early ages, thus being deceived with money from even HIV-infected victims. What's your say on that, Shirabo?
Now, how do you accuse these ones failure to work hard?
They are minors.
First,
They're supposed to be
they
in
would
school.
be still in school.
Yes.
Now, are they going to begin working from their mother's belly? So, I mean, they are not earners. That category we are talking of is not contributing to the economy as far as earning, unless they dropped out of school. So we can't look at how much, we can't judge them. Maybe one would say desire for lives that they can't make to. Because there's also that problem that many of these young girls, they're above 18, we can compromise that their intelligence levels and understanding, but there's this love. You find, I usually hear them sometimes when I'm out somewhere, I need an iPhone. Olive, you know more of these latest versions, yeah? But the person talking about the iPhone has no source of income. So you ask, in your head, how did this thought of wanting an iPhone come to you and says, before 2025,
it's the media, Shirabo. It's what you people in the media perpetrate.
But
also,
how
another
should parents
comment.
bring out their children to understand and know? Let's be very honest.
Yes,
Because this is where these young girls are falling prey.
Okay. Now, there is another comment. Muhammad in Uganda says, in Uganda, there is a lot of adultery exposure. Like you see music videos are free, and the children hear the kind of songs and the lyrics, and of course you've seen the imagery in the videos. And he goes ahead to say, imagine single mothers are busy. What do you expect? So, Jerome, this one seems to be throwing it to single mothers, in as much as the report doesn't indicate that the children that are married off earlier are products of single mother, led households.
Today, my comments today on our viewers' opinions have, I was almost going to say today our viewers have. Anyways, the issue here is the rise or growth, the rise of single mothers in the latest generation we are in today is highly caused by the men themselves. We have so many men who are running away from their responsibilities. and it is not something you come out to blame single mothers for this kind of situation. Because again, you see these young girls, they're also going to become single mothers because the men, after impregnating them, they run away.
Yes.
And at time, apart from those who stick with them during these child marriages, but because this man is used to you know, sleeping around with young ones, the chances are high that even in the next 5 years he will go back for a teenager. So it is not just a blame on the on single mothers, and I feel it's just a blame on society as a whole, how we are looking at life. It is quite unfortunate that we are all exposed today. We at least have a clue of what is happening elsewhere. Whether you have traveled or not, you have an idea of how the generations have changed and how humanity should sanely live. But we choose the opposite, meaning despite the fact that we are pointing fingers, we also know the truth. It's like we are living in denial at some point. So we need to be very honest with ourselves and you know, choose what is right. That, you know, if a young person who is below 18 years, this person is supposed to be in school, let the girl go to school, let her study, let her flourish, let her choose her own life, or let her choose her own career. That would be the better way to do. Instead of just blaming, we shall come and blame, let's say, single mothers for failing to take part or instilling this and this, and then we shall blame, let's say, the young girls for wearing what they are supposed to wear, simply because the men will look at it and say, I want to sleep with this one. But hey, this is the society we are living in, and we are just up. Instead of putting an end to it, and the sad note, Olive, I think this would even be as my part of the parting shots. The sad note is that the elite group in our country looks like the champion of some of these cases. Like people who we look at and we feel they are more informed and they know the dangers of this, is where you will find the pedophiles. It's where you will find the rapists, and you wonder, don't these people know what kind of trauma they are going to cause on anyone who is experiencing this pain?
Thank you so much, Joram. Now, the last comment is from Omo Maremo, who says, Mabemo, who says, to me, the government is responsible for these early child marriages. Why do I say so? The laws prohibiting children from being punished, like corporal punishment. Children can't be corrected, coupled with technology. Children do whatever pleases them, and parents have no say. I feel, to me, parents should be given back their full authority of managing their children, because you punish the child for starting early relationship, the child reports you to police. Why is your child starting an early relationship to begin with? Robert, in a few seconds, your comment as the parting remark.
First, I totally disagree with the last comment, because if we are talking of the law, then every family, the daughter there would be under child marriage, because that is a universal issue. And we cannot excuse ourselves as parents and look at government, because we are the first stewards of these children. It's our responsibility, whether living or dead, because still this will haunt us wherever we shall be, heaven or hell. Now, to end child marriages, it calls for collective responsibility. That is the religious sector, the cultural institutions, government, communities, and the parents. Men, look at every young girl below the age of 18 as your own daughter and desire the best for her in terms of her future. Mothers, fathers, let's be more responsible when it comes to our children. Because at the end of the day, whether you're 6 feet under the ground, recently I saw a father and mother who attended a meeting because of their child having gone and destroyed property of another person. Parents who are called, like they used to call us at school. They have aged, they have a mature son, and they are now being invited to settle certain issues. So parenting never ceases. And what you sow, you surely harvest it.
Well, thank you so much, Robert, for your comments, and also Joram, plus each one of our viewers that has commented on the issue at hand today. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. My parting shot, I think there is a lot of victim blaming, and this is not okay, because if we aim to blame the victims, then we are not going to see the change that we seek. The problem is there are child marriages, 100,000 of them in Uganda region. That is worrisome. We need to look at solutions. We need to engage local leaders. We need to engage parents. We cannot blame the victims. Good Morning Uganda continues.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, may dondolo.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archive stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, every story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Welcome to Good Morning Uganda, your go-to morning show to kickstart your day with all the latest updates.
Let's dive deep into issues that matter most to you.
In a world of stories waiting to be told, the headlines are your guide. Navigate the currents of news and knowledge with our daily updates of newspapers. Stay informed, stay empowered.
From the roar of the crowd to the thunder of victory, witness the drama unfold with our sports updates. Whether on the field or in the stands, join us as we celebrate the spirit of champions.
Rise with Good Morning Uganda, weekdays from 6:30 a.m.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, good morning and thank you very much for sticking around with us. With business this morning, government has directed the opening of the Way Bridge to enable Bunyoro sugarcane farmers sell sugarcane to the processors. It follows a meeting between the Minister for Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, and in this stakeholder meeting there was farmers who hail from Bunyoro, as also the State Minister for Youth and Children, who is Honorable Balam Baugahara, who told UBC that the directive by the Trade Minister to reopen the Way Bridge takes immediate effect. Now, Bunyoro Sugarcane Farmers Cooperative Union has reopened the bridge to serve sugarcane farmers within the sub-region. And in this, it follows the protests from farmers after the Ministry of Trade had ordered the closure of the Way Bridge and heavy deployment of police to halt any sugarcane business. The State Minister for Youth and Children, Honorable Balam, did reveal that this was resolved as there was an engagement with the stakeholders. He urged sugarcane farmers to follow procedure and clear all their demands. The chairperson, the Bunyoro Sugarcane Farmers Cooperative Union, Mohammed Kazibir Raine, revealed that business is back to normal at the Way Bridge. Now, last Saturday, the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives ordered closure of the Farmers Way Bridge and police deployment, leading to a stall in business for farmers who supply cane to Bunyoro Sugarcane Growers Cooperative. Now, away from that, street vendors in Kampala make a fortune out of artificial intelligence-generated artworks. The AI section of painters believe that they can both coexist with AI art sellers for a common goal of earning a living. Also, Kampala, the capital city of Uganda, has now become a serious business hub for those involved in artificial intelligence, innovation and ICT. Now, also, when you look at the transactions that is involving a lot of creativity and innovation, includes the latest being the sale of artificial intelligence-generated artworks on the streets. And in an interview with many of the painters, they are not scared of operating in the same market space with AI-generated art pieces. Now, the rotation of artificial intelligence-generated art is not new, however, with the recent advancements in machine learning and deep learning has significant enhancement in the capabilities of AI in this domain. And well, you also get to realize that AI has become a regional threat, not only within the East African community, but also on the continental basis. So everybody in different career spaces is working towards adapting to an era where we are competing with artificial intelligence for the jobs, services offered, and the skills to be offered in the same capacity. Now, we've finalized business this Wednesday by looking at the forex market close of business yesterday. Opening time, the US dollar was buying at 3,693.95 while selling at 3,703.95. By midday, there was a little bit of an increase in the buying, 3,694.09, and then the selling was 3,704.09. It did decline though by closing time because the US dollar closed buying at 3,693.41 and selling with 3,703.41 Ugandan shillings. Now against the shilling, the Great Britain pound was buying at 4,509.65 while selling at 4,521.86, and the euro was buying at 3,785.37 while selling at 3,795.62. The Kenyan shilling was buying at 28.52 while selling at 28.59. The Tanzanian shilling was then buying at 1.48 shillings while selling at 1.48 Ugandan shillings, and the South African rand sums it up with 194.53 that was buying against the shilling and then selling at 195.06. Now, these figures are courtesy of the central bank and they are updated 3 times daily. Well, that does it for business. I'll be back tomorrow with the latest from the business space. Good Morning Uganda continues as the Good Morning Uganda agenda comes up next at the top of the hour. Good morning.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
can now get all the chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archive stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, every story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Juko. Yo. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, it is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a poultry project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
A new dawn on Behind the Headlines with me, Timothy Nyangweso. Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala, we have conversations that have analysis, explanation, but not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth. Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
All on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
This week on UBC. My name's Jung Gwonjong. I'm the boss of this entire hotel. My duties include heavy lifting, spreading happiness, and driving fancy cars.
I'm responsible for the area by the hotel entrance.
And I officially moved into the sunroom.
You think you can cut my share of the rent?
Say what?
To maximize my space, I needed to improvise a bit. That day, she walked into my life.
Hi.
So, insurance, right?
Huh? Like that. I can...
Don't let him scam you. We don't want your investments or insurance.
I met the woman of my dreams.
I'll take you home. I got the Maserati.
How do you spell Maserati?
M-A-S-E-R-A-T-I. H.
Okay, we're leaving. You shouldn't drive, especially not in that car. The cops will fine you extra. His family's got money and don't know what to do with it.
What's your name? Huh? I'm reporting you.
If I were to be with a guy like that, I wouldn't be able to look at myself in the mirror.
Maybe all rich guys are like that. I'm not a rich guy. I'm down to earth. No, don't. It's not worth it. But after I met you, I suddenly got out of bed.
John Wonjong, I really was wrong about you. After meeting me, you learned to walk. This isn't a love story, it's a medical miracle.
And all the women in the club will be like sisters to me.
Respect is most important in a relationship. If a man doesn't respect a woman, then he's no man. Here, keep it safe. It's your playbook. Trying to be meaningful all day with them, in the end, you'll still be single with a bunch of new mom.
I was smiling all day, every day. When I woke up every morning, I wanted to yell out, "I'm so happy."
If there's such thing as a miracle.
You're not a miracle. You're a maniac.
Most of the time, our lives are lackluster. When you add all the brilliant moments, or what we call miracles. Welcome.
Welcome to Good Morning Uganda, your go-to morning show to kickstart your day with all the latest updates.
Let's dive deep into issues that matter most to you.
In a world of stories waiting to be told, the headlines are your guide. Navigate the currents of news and knowledge with our daily updates of newspapers. Stay informed, stay empowered.
From the roar of the crowd to the thunder of victory, witness the drama unfold with our sports updates. Whether on the field or in the stands, join us as we celebrate the spirit of champions.
Rise with Good Morning Uganda, weekdays from 6:30 a.m.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, it is Good Morning Uganda, time for Agenda, where we have topical discussions regarding many issues that are important to our country and also our society, but also to us as individuals. My name is Olive Monica Najuma. If you're just joining us, thank you so much for sticking with us here on Good Morning Uganda every single day. We are coming to you live from the broadcast house here at Nile Avenue at Uganda Broadcasting Corporation. You're watching Good Morning Uganda. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Now today we will delve into a conversation still on skilling. Yes, why is skilling very important and why are we interested in conversations of this nature? This week, Makerere University is churning out graduates and the graduation ceremony started on Monday and it will be continuing up until the end of the week. Now, what stands out is the big question, the elephant in the room. Where are the jobs? What are the graduates going to do? Now, it's important for us to recognize that they have worked hard and congratulate them on this milestone. But then after everything is said and done, the big question is, will they find the jobs? Because as Makerere University is churning out the graduates, other universities also churn out graduates. There is a graduation ceremony happening in this town pretty much every single month. And we don't only have universities in Kampala, we have universities across the country, and even them, they keep churning out students, and new students keep joining the university. So the question of skilling cannot be answered in just one conversation, and that's why we are here today. Now, there have been some new developments. We have TVET reforms in Uganda, which refer to the ongoing changes and initiatives aimed at transforming technical and vocational education and training to address the growing skills gap and improve employability among graduates. And when you look at the key components of the TVET reforms, you'll find that there is a shift to competence-based education and training, and the reforms emphasize practical hands-on training and the acquisition of market-relevant skills rather than theoretical knowledge alone. This approach aims to better align graduates' competencies with the industry needs. Now we'll look at more of the components of TVET, but I will be joined by Catherine. I am joined by Catherine Batio, who is the Executive Director, COSMIS. Now, what does COSMIS do? COSMIS are everything and anything skilling. They do this in different secondary schools so that when our students get out of secondary school, they have something they can do for themselves. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Uganda. Good morning, Olive. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year 2025. Congratulations to all the graduates of the university, Makerere University, and other universities across the country. We are here 2025. We'll talk about the skills gap and what we can do better for our country. But also in regard to the reforms that you've mentioned about, I think that's something that we need to unpack and see how best, how relevant are the reforms, how can these reforms help us to improve the current gaps and also build our Uganda.
Okay, yes, build Uganda. And that's where we will start the conversation, Catherine. What does Uganda's current skill gap look like and how is it affecting the job market?
Well, if you look at yesterday I was reading something from the Daily Monitor that had about the crisis, about different international universities not recognizing our courses.
Yes.
And the other thing was also recognizing the skills competence of our graduates. So for me, that was something that was very critical when I read that through. But also looking at the current market and what's happening, that we have so many people graduating, but they're home. That indicates that there is something missing. Because if someone had a specific skills competence, they're able to transform or transfer that skill into something workable. And that is now when you can be able to say, out of 90%, 80% of the graduates, at least we want to see them engaged, we want to see them do something. So the level of innovation that we see in the skills areas of the people we've trained, who are trained through the different universities, the institutions that are employing the different graduates across the country, what's the feedback? The quality of work that we see and the level of innovation that we see across the country, for me, indicates the skills gap that we have. Let's say you have an engineer, for instance, who've been trained, but this engineer is home. What is the challenge? Could it be the competence-based skill gap that is there? Yes. And when I see what the ministry is coming up under the TVET, looking at addressing the competences, that what is that thing that you've mastered in the area of training? If it is in the engineering sector, if it is in the ICT sector, what kind of innovation do we have? If we look at the current secondary curriculum, it is trying to address the current gaps, that we have several youth who should be able to innovate, who should be able to respond to the environmental needs that surrounds them, who should be able to come up with solutions So that makes it different from our old curriculum that initially did not address that. And now for me, that's the most important thing that we have to look at right now, that the different courses that are provided at the university level, what environmental challenges are they addressing? What market needs are they able to address? And that's when our skills gap issues will be addressed.
Wow, you ask very pertinent questions. Now, looking at the components of TVET, Catherine, I see there is the establishment of the Uganda Vocational Qualifications Framework, and this is a structured qualification framework that allows learners to earn certificates based on acquired competencies at various levels, making it easier for them to transition into employment or further education. What's your perspective on that?
If you look at the previous, apart from the current bill that is fronted to President, the previous, we had a TVET and a BTVET component. And for me, when I look at the BTVET component, I think gives us more sense because it has a lot of real-life, hands-on
What's the
solutions.
difference between the two?
A BTVET is more of a business-related skill set that a person is trained in market-relevant skills. That, for instance, someone can be trained on, let's say, technological solutions that I can be able to innovate, I can be able to repair, I can be able to work on my hair, I can do those different hands-on skills-related, hands-on skills-related hands-on skill set. So the other is more of the technical aspect. How do we, for instance, the technical aspect of managing the vocational education. Let's look at the skills area in the Juakali sector. The Juakali requires a mastered skills area. They don't require to go to school and first master theories of a process of, let's say, how to repair a motorcycle. They just need a real hands-on skill on how to make this work. If we go to Katwe right now, we have so many of our Ugandans who are out there. They are able to manufacture, they are able to innovate, but because they lack in certain areas of expertise, they are then not able to compete in the market. So the BTVET would definitely help us to address such kind of challenges. That a skill that is driven to address a specific market need. And these skills basically have been under the industrial training sector. That's under the Director for Industrial Training. But now with the merger, of course, now it's going to go to the main Uganda Vocational Technical framework. That is now going to be not just DIT, not UBTEB, which is going to be a unified body. But for me, I would think that the BTVET aspect would help us better. And then the people who are going to manage the component of, let's say, we have an industry that is that is manufacturing, let's say, maize milling machines. We shall need technocrats to manage. But the manufacturing aspect is different, and the management aspect is different.
And the marketing aspect
is different. So the technical guys could be able to come in and guide and say, look here, yes, you are able to manufacture, but this is how the process is. So the TVET and the BTVET, that's where the difference comes in. That the two institutions should be able to work together. We don't need to go to first reach a level of education, first complete senior 4, complete senior 6 to be able to attain, let's say, a certificate from Chambogo. But at least you should be able to be trained that we've identified your talent. And this talent can be built through the skilling program that can be taken to another level.
Okay. Well, you can join the conversation. We are speaking matters skilling, and you can send your views or questions through WhatsApp number 0709-602-592. You can also send a direct message on the same number. We'll be able to read it. Now, let's look at the differences between competence-based training and traditional academic education.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uganda, when Uganda developed the current TVET and BTVET framework, several East African countries copied, actually benchmarked from us, looking at Kenya, Rwanda, and the rest of the countries. So for me, that would indicate that the skilling intervention or the framework that Uganda had initiated is one superior program. And from the implementation level, I would think what the country is able to adopt and say, Uganda has taken it up. Uganda is able to do this program in these different refugee programs, in the different schools. And their ability to adopt and take this program to their countries, for me, indicates that there is a change they've seen. Looking at the trend, if we look at our current economy, where majority of our people have not gone very high with a lot of education, but they're hands-on. People are working for the Juakali sector. So majority of the Juakali requires the basics to help us be able to promote industrialization. And if we talk about addressing the current gaps of opportunities, somebody yesterday in the media was saying that even panties are imported from China.
That's true.
So can we train? Yes. Yes. So can we have our own that we train through the BTV, through the competence-based scaling, that the tailors that we train and the tailoring and fashion should be able to innovate products that can sell locally. But then the question will come maybe in terms of the certification, the product quality enhancement, and then maybe the export promotions assurance that currently I'm seeing the government doing through DIT. And yeah, that's what I can say.
Okay. So just in a nutshell, it's important for us to move into the competent-based way of teaching rather than the rote learning.
Yeah, because if we take notes, our traditional way of learning has been giving us more theory. Somebody said the other countries manufacture the drugs and they teach us how to distribute the drugs through the hospitals and the rest of the process. They don't teach us how to manufacture the drugs. We want to manufacture the drugs ourselves.
Because that's where the money is.
Yes. So the traditional system of learning, of education, was basically teaching us to distribute, not to manufacture. We are learning to sell for people. We are learning to manage for people. We are learning to distribute drugs, to distribute utensils, to distribute, but not to manufacture. So the competence-based is telling us, no, also manufacture your own.
Add value.
Add value. Make your own drugs, make your own nice cups, make your own cars, make your own cameras, make your own whatever that is produced within the country, so that we can have the two work together. The sector that is the formal, in the formal sector that is learning how to do marketing, how to do management, should have where to manage. We need companies to produce cars, to manufacture cars, and then we need the Catherine's with marketing skills to come and market these cars. We need companies that are able to manufacture drugs in Uganda, and we also need the other human resource to market. So it should be the dual system, not just the one-ended system, but we need a dual system that has the competence-based, but also the other side of the education system.
I like that. And when you think about some of the industries that we have and factories now in the country, when you go to Kapeka, we have a very big factory there, factories that are making like ceramics. Back in that day, we used to import everything from all Italy, the ceramics, yes, all the ceramics that we were using, the plates. That's why I think ceramic plates were for bargaining in most households, because they were expensive to buy. But now you go on the street and you find them being sold at 1,000 shillings, 2,000. And then when you look at other appliances in the home, like bathroom appliances, like sinks, like toilets, like tiles, I think most rentals today are using tiles that are made locally here. So, but still, the main important thing here is that in as much as we have these industries and factories, you'll find that the brains, the people that are running the day-to-day work, majority of them are not Ugandans.
True.
So what you're saying is that we need to move to a point where you'll find a whole factory and the the CEO, the executive director, the person in charge of production is actually a Ugandan, well trained.
Yes, and that's why we need to skill, because for us to have innovators of, let's say, ceramics production, manufacturing sector, we must have the people with the right skill set.
Yes.
We must have the Ugandan who is able to say, we have sand in this country. We have the different mineral resources. Can we innovate a product out of these mineral resources? We have, let's say we have the market around us. Can we innovate, let's say, dresses and package them nicely?
I can
and
tell
sell
that
them
your
out.
dress is,
This is Uganda.
by Uganda, built Uganda. Beautiful, by the way, nicely made.
Yeah.
And I like that when it comes to garments, the sector is growing. We have many young women in the country that are taking the sector to the next level. When you look at Fatuma Asha, when you look at Bero Kotua, and many others that are locally making wedding gowns and changing dresses. So I see what you're saying. But then the big question, the other thing is that the other elephant in the room is, in as much as they're making all these nice garments, the material, most of it is still imported.
And that's the textile industry, but still goes back to the foundation. And we cannot make a miracle unless we make it, unless we skill our people, unless we show them. And it can't start when someone is too old. Just like they would say, you want to grow a tree, cannot be straight when it's already mature. If it's starting to bend it, make it straight when it's still young. So we need to talk about the skills program across the country. We need to plan. We need to assess the impact of the current and the past programs we've done. Especially, we have several programs that are ongoing. We have the presidential initiative programs. We have the girl child education program. We have several of the skilling initiatives that are taking place across the country. So can we adopt from some of these ongoing programs and see how best we can build? If we go back to the reforms right now, as a person, and my recommendation, if I was asked, would be the current opportunities that we have, how do we build them on? For instance, if we are saying that we are skilling children from the lower level of education, can we have the technical institutions now looking at innovation levels? So that is something that I'd expect to see in this reform, that as we skill many Ugandans who are out of school, as we skill these children in school, as we skill the different communities in the country, what next after skilling them? Let's say if you skilled a fashion and design person or a tailor, we need garments. So can the technical institutions at a higher level look at manufacturing and processing of these? Can we look at the tailor who has this basic skill, but then goes to, let's say, Nakawa vocational, and look at now fabric development? Not just to do the tailoring aspect, but now looking at a higher level of this component. And for me, that's now where I think I see the TVET, the technical vocational component, and the business aspect would be able to merge. So if these two work together, like other countries would do, like China does the two. For them, in all the education system, vocational skilling is compulsory, because they know that is where the genesis of manufacturing comes from. If I can repair, let's say, an automated system of a car, it becomes very easy for me to think of how do I make a spare part of a car. But I can never manufacture if I don't have a skill of making it. So by making vocational education compulsory, it is going to enhance our our TVET system very strong, and the framework will be able to be adopted.
Interesting. Actually, every time you speak, I'm forced to think of something deeper. Like, for instance, when you mentioned China and how you said, if I can repair an automated part of a car, then I can think of a spare part. That is what is making China the manufacturing giant of the world. But one would wonder, yes, you've taken us through all of this, and but going back to the reforms, why in your perspective was the transition to technical and vocational education and training reforms, the reforms this time round in particular, why were the reforms necessary?
In terms of putting up a body, because I've read from the bill, the current bill, in terms of putting up a standard body of assessment body, I think it is something that is good because it's giving in a unified body. Because previously there were several. UBTEP is on, DIT is on its own, everyone was on their own. But putting up this is something that is very good. However, the inside of it, that yes, as we have in this board, an assessment board, who does what where? Are we not going to lose the good work that has been done? For me, I would recommend maybe for an assessment that the different actors should be able to get back on ground and assess the impact of one, the work of DIT for these years, the work of UBDEP, Uganda Business Technical Vocational Education, assess that, and then get to talk to the beneficiaries. Talk to them, go meet the Presidential Initiative beneficiaries, see what work they are doing, those who are certified under the DIT program, see what opportunities they've been able to create, learn from there. And then take up that whatever you've learned now should be able to be adopted into the new reforms. Because if we don't do that, the energy that we've put in the past is going to be at waste. Two, the fear is going to be that the people who are certified, for instance, we have DIT certifying the PASID program, the exports of these. We have the people who are trained, several of the beneficiaries across the country who are certified under DIT. What will happen if this program is scrapped off and taken to the other side? And thirdly, if the business technical education program is now removed, taken to the technical aspect, the question is, what is going to happen to this high growing number of school dropouts? We have the issue of school, teenage pregnancies, people who are not able to continue with education. We have these people who do not have capacity to still go ahead with the education. Even the graduates who are able to go to school, but they come back home without jobs. So the current reform, looking at the bill, because I've looked at the bill, I've seen it's not giving us very clearly that what is going to happen to the current BTVET or the competence-based beneficiaries. These people who've not been going through the technical education system, but they've been going through the hands-on skilling program. What is going to happen of them? What is going to happen to the growing population of our country with the current poverty level? Not everyone is able to go to the university. Not everybody is able to complete the higher education. What is going to happen?
Yes.
What's going to happen to our Katwe people if the integration is not going to look at critically our people? But also in terms of promoting industrialization, I would think if the reform can look at strengthening, for instance, the efforts of the current reforms that we have, looking at the frameworks of DIT, can we strengthen? Can we look at, there's something very good I've seen in that, looking at providing for experts committees. That is very good. And this experts committee will help us to do specialization, that we have mechanics experts in this country. And that kind of a committee will help us to now look at quality enhancement. If we have these experts, I am a mechanic in Uganda, I can be certified. If I worked on your car and I didn't work on it well, I can be reported to the ministry and my certificate or my license is revoked because of the quality of work. So I think that aspect, if it is implemented very well, is going to help us to look at quality enhancement, it's going to help us look at reliability on our products, and also customer satisfaction, because people will be able to say, Uganda manufactured a phone, and this phone came through, was approved maybe by the Uganda phones experts through the TVET program, and there is an assurance of this program. But then there should be a process that is properly reviewed and The team requires a lot of teamwork, especially through the different directorates, through TVET, through BTVET, through the IT and the rest to work together with us as well as stakeholders who are implementing this program. Because we have actors who are in the market, like the NGOs, the different donor world. We have the government agencies that are struggling to see that the skilling program is enhanced. But what will happen of this reform? If the certification aspect will have, for instance, the IT has an ISO. It is an ISO, International Standard Organization certified document, that if you went globally, your certificate is recognized. But then now if we go to, if it is unified, what is going to happen? Is it going to remain at the Ugandan level? So this is a question that we still get back to the ministry to really think about. And we would request as a government to support us, to still go back and do not isolate the ordinary persons who require skills. In this new framework, as we talked about the competence-based, please look at what level can we still continue skilling our communities at the ordinary level, at a non-formal level, because we still need this. If we are to still promote industrialization, if we are still to promote the different enterprises coming up, we need consideration within the framework so that at a broader level, the Build Uganda, Buy Uganda will be achieved.
Indeed. Now, we are looking at the fate of graduates without competence-based training amidst TVET reforms. Now, TVET refers to technical and vocational education and training. So, what is the fate of graduates without competence-based skills? That's what we are looking at, and we'd like to hear from you. So reach out to us on WhatsApp number 0709-602-592. Now I have a comment coming in from Oscar from Soroti, and Catherine, Oscar says the issue is there are others who take this training as a last resort. So I think what he means, there are people who take skills training as a last resort. Now, as someone that is passionate about skilling and who has seen results from the skilling, what would you say to people who think, because actually he has a point here, let's dial back. Back in school, even right now, when you talk to many students, let's say senior 4 VACIS, so the people that are joining senior 4 and other levels of secondary, if you ask them about what they want to do in future, majority will tell you the traditional fields. They will say maybe medicine, maybe law, and maybe the new fields that are coming up like marketing, and to mention but a few. But it's rare to hear a student say, I want to do a skills-based course. And yet, I mean, Elon Musk is rich not because he's an engineer. He's rich because he's producing things that provide solutions. So fuel prices are going high. We are talking about climate change and we want to stop the usage of fossil fuels. He comes up with an electric car, to mention but a few. So what do you say to students out there and parents whose children sometimes are not even that good in academics, but they are forcing them, you need to graduate. In this household, everyone is a graduate. But they can't see that the children are struggling, but probably they have a talent elsewhere.
True. Actually, Oscar's point is very, very, very serious issue. It's perception and attitude. Because traditionally, our parents, our communities believed that if you go for skilling, you are a failure. And that's why the skilling industry lies in the hands of the Juakali, the people who have not gone to school.
Yes.
And it's high time that we change this perception, because the Juakalis are the employers of the country, of the world. They're the solution providers of the world. But simply because this child was not prepared, was not guided, that's why we need to do a lot of career guidance to our children, to our students, to the youth out there, so that when they choose these courses, they don't choose them as a last resort, but they choose them as an avenue for solution provision. So it is all about the aspect of the issue of attitude and influence and perception, that if someone became a mechanic, or that is a failure. And yet this mechanic is providing a solution.
Let me tell you something. You've seen specialized mechanical shops where you find maybe a Mercedes-Benz mechanical shop or a Subaru. Do you know how much they charge? An arm and a leg. So it's not those days of saying mechanics are failures.
True. Yeah, that's why we have to do a lot. Actually, we have to do a lot to educate our people. We face it with the children we are teaching. You realize that a parent will tell you, I don't want my child to do any skill, because that is for a failure. How will people see me? How will people see my child, for instance, do mechanics? And yet this child can do mechanics and repair a Subaru, and repair Mercedes-Benz, and repair all these other cars that you've talked about right now, that it is a lot of money that people can earn. If someone who did automotive mechanics, that is where the course lies, it becomes really a lot of value add to our country, but also to the market, that people will not have to struggle. You can take your car to 3, 4, 5 garages, and they mess up with your car, simply because they don't have the right skill, the right skill set. So if we train this child, remove the attitude and that perception of saying this is for failures, this child or this person will be able to provide us the rightful skill set to repair the cars rightly, and then we shall enjoy the service industry.
Okay. Wow, and I have another comment from Ibrahim Mayanja. He says, personally, Cosmis has helped me a lot because my children can now make money in their holidays. I think the university students need it as well, because the degree alone will not or may not change their lives. And he says, thank you once again, Cosmis, let's build a better Uganda. And thank you, UBC, for bringing such people to us. You're welcome.
Yeah, I would think the universities should adopt, just like the way I saw yesterday at the university saying that they want to make political education compulsory as a part of the courses. I think vocational education should be made compulsory at all levels of education, so that by the time a child is rolled out, by the time a child graduates, we have a very useful Ugandan who's able to respond and provide a solution to this country.
Yes. Now, among the other components of of TVET and CBET, it shows that there is the establishment of the Uganda Vocational Qualifications Framework, and this is a structured qualification that we already talked about. But then there is the other component, which is institutional reforms and new governance structures, which says the creation of the TVET Council under the Ministry of Education and Sports is responsible for overseeing the implementation of policies and ensuring the quality of vocational training across institutions. I think this is important because this is a baby right now, and we may have, for lack of a better word, crooks that may want to penetrate and come off as if they're giving skills. And that's where I'm going to ask you a pertinent question for a parent who is considering Cosmis right now. Are you certified?
Yes, we are a certified partner to DIT. We provide level 1, 2, 3 and modular.
Yes.
And we also do community-based skilling programs. So apart from just school-based, we also do community-based skills.
Oh, you do community-based. Tell us more about that.
So community-based skills, we normally do them for out of school, people who've never gone to school. And these trainings are hands-on trainings, and they're provided in their local languages. So if it is mechanics, if it is hair, whatever the course it is, it's translated and provided in the language they understand better, but also at a community level. So we get into the communities, let's say move into a sub-county where there are no schools, establish a mobile learning center, teach for a period of time. When the course is done, that center is closed, and we go to another.
So you give them, do you give them certifications after?
They're certified, Okay. They're certified under DIT.
Okay. All right. And there is, I see another component is increased industry collaboration. And here they're looking at partnerships between TVET institutions and the private sector, which are core part of the reforms. Now, as COSMES, what kind of partnerships do you seek for, or what kind of partnerships are you already involved in?
Well, apart from the assessment partnership, because with the ministry, it's a body. For instance, the Directorate of Industrial Training is a body. It's an assessing body currently. So we partner with them that whenever we do our trainings, they should come and assess and check the quality of work we've done. But also to give an assurance that a child or a person who has been trained, who's been skilled, is skilled rightfully. Secondly, the Directorate has modules. Already there are standard modules that are developed by the government and the ministry. So whoever is implementing should be able to work alongside a guideline, a standard guideline. So that's also a partnership we're doing. But also in terms of a request to the government, given that this country is a very vast country, we require a lot of support, a lot of providers within the country. So the partnership would seek for is kind of that institutional partnership that can help us to extend these trainings to different rural schools, to different community levels, so that more Ugandans are able to access this program. Thirdly, we also have donor partnerships where you write proposals, talk to different well-wishers who can support the scaling program. Yeah.
Now we are about to come to the end of our conversation, but I would like for the person that has just joined us to hear more about COSMES. I know we have had you here a couple of times, and we've even had some students that have benefited from your skills training. But for instance, I have a parent who just asked, Alexander Nkrununji has asked if a P7 leaver can, or vacist, can join your program. So tell us more about COSMES and what exactly you've been doing in the lives of young people.
Yeah, thank you. COSMES, as I've mentioned, we do, previously it was called non-formal, but right now it's formal because it is certified. We provide a skilling program to every level of Ugandan, to those who've never gone to school. So if you have a child of P7 that has gone to school, to those who've never gone to school. But we also have programs that we started for holiday makers. Someone who's completed senior P7, senior 4, they're still home. They are senior 1, senior 2, they're still home. So we utilize the holidays to ensure that these children are occupied. Their time is spent meaningfully, that within the holidays for 2-3 times in a week, they can go and learn how to repair a car, how to make clothes, how to bake, so we have those programs, and they run for every holiday time. So every holiday we enroll them and they come and learn. And then we also have for vacists, those who've completed senior 4, senior 6, and they're home, they come and still learn what we call the modular assessments, 6 months. We have those 1 year, so they come and within their free time. You can come and get skill and go to the university. So the hours are very flexible, that in a way that you can do 2-3 different courses at the same time.
How about the one you do in schools? Schools are opening now, and parents are wondering, are my children just going to school to study, or is there some more value that will be added to them?
Yeah, the ones we do in school, as we partner with the different schools, and it's integrated. Let's say senior ones, maybe they could learn on once a week or twice a week. Senior 2, senior 3. So it's a value add onto their normal learning schedule. So that this child, by the time they finish senior 4, at least they have a skill aside.
Yes.
Apart from the other formal education program. The same that we are taking, we would want to still implement into the other higher education systems. So that someone who has come to enroll for a business administration should go back with a skill. So that's one thing that we are really working along across, and we're seeking for partnerships with these different schools and different institutions to see that the skilling is rolled out massively in the country. But also in terms of addressing in a gap Because if you remember previously, the ministry had made it first mandatory for every Ugandan child to get a skill. And it was vocational skilling running across the other new curriculum. However, along the way, the program never went the way it was expected because of challenges. Schools didn't have the technical expertise, they didn't have the tools, they didn't know where materials are found from, and it became a big pressure. So we are trying to do a lot of support to the schools that said, no, don't get scared. We have the technical expertise here. We have the equipments on board. We have the materials that are supporting you. So just give us the child, allocate time on your timetable, and this child is skilled.
Okay, thank you so much. We have been speaking to Catherine Batio, who is the Executive Director, COSMIS. COSMIS into skills training. Now, Catherine, I would like for you to share your parting shots and also the contacts for those that would like to reach you.
Okay, thank you once again for giving us this opportunity, UBC. And maybe as a request to our president who is watching this program, that please support skilling our children. Would want to see Uganda coming up with a lot of innovators. As we implement the new curriculum, we want to also implement skilling to backstop the curriculum. And also to our First Lady, we love you, and we love this program. We love the skilling program. We love the new curriculum. We request that we continue implementing this. Let's continue skilling our children. In terms of contacts to this program, just shortly, I'll be giving you that contact so that I can't remember it offhand.
Okay, someone was asking, as you're giving us the contact, does COSMIS have a training school for skilling? If so, where can we access it?
Yes, COSMIS has, we have a center at Kanyanya, that is before Gas petrol station, and it's opposite the former Gaga garage. You just be able to see COSMIS, so we have a center there. But we also run centers within the secondary schools where we are teaching. We are doing collaboration so that at every holiday we're able to provide skilling program for the communities around the secondary schools of our operation. Our number is 039 320 6201. 039 320 06201. That's the number you can call us on to reach our offices or to inquire and get. But we have several of these programs. We have morning, mid-morning, it is throughout the day. So it's the time of your convenience that you can come and register and learn with us the different programs.
Well, thank you so much, Catherine. It's been a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to have you here because skilling cannot be emphasized enough. So thank you.
Thank you.
Well, you're still watching Good Morning Uganda. I'm Olive Monica Najuma. Now, I will see you again tomorrow at 6:30. For now, Ruben Pima is coming up next with the sports updates. Catch you tomorrow.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, may don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Ajuko.
Yo.
Wachiko. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Uganda, haven't you heard of the parish development model, PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sewatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a poultry project, and now things are moving.
Ajuko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.